win in Memphis last night. Played the Grizzlies 108-101 was the final. They'll stay on the road and head down to San Antonio. They're going to play the Spurs tomorrow night. That's an 8:30 tip-off. We will not be doing the metal show tomorrow night because that would push us way out with that later Cavs game. So we'll be back next Saturday night. If you're a metal fan, the show is called 2 Hours to Midnight, and it's 120 minutes of nothing but metal. And it's a lot of fun. It's me, Corey Roddick, Pat Butler, all throwing in your requests, local metal, and all kinds of stuff. So off tomorrow night, but then back next Saturday night.
Well, how do people send you suggestions in local music?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. There's an email address. It's 2htm@wmms.com. Pretty straightforward. And you can attach some of your music. If I like it, I'll play it. And so far, I've really liked what I've heard happening around Northeast Ohio. And if you just want to send in a request for something, you can use that same email address. And I always post the playlists week to week. If you're like, well, I don't know if I want to give you any of my time, it's valuable, I get it. You can see what we've been doing. We've got a 2 Hours to Midnight page at WMMS.com, and I also post them at our Facebook page. So FYI. If you noticed, and you might have this morning, if your phone smelled faintly of smoke this morning, it's because, according to a news item I read, LeBron James trade rumors have set the internet on fire.
Oh.
That's why your phone probably smelled funny this morning.
It's the only thing that LeBron hasn't had happen yet. He's never been traded.
I wasn't sure if it was a situation where he was asking to be traded or they're looking at him and going, why would they trade him?
I don't think they will.
Yeah, okay. But why would that? I mean, there's usually a kernel of truth to those kind of things. Or is it just somebody speculating? Because
I think it's just that time of year where people will speculate and they go, well, if he were to get traded, who would you trade him for? Where would he go? That kind of thing.
It seemingly started with a local reporter, a guy there at KTLA, who said that he heard from people within the NBA that LeBron is on a list of people that the Lakers would like to trade. Looking for the right team and is close to a suitor is what this guy's tweet said.
Oh, yeah?
That's what he said. People noticed that he had been right in the past. In 2012, he was the guy that reported that LeBron was interested in rejoining the Cavaliers in 2014. So maybe this guy knows some people. 2018, this same guy predicted LeBron would join the Lakers.
Right, because his representation's not going to tell the truth.
Right.
Because they want to make sure they're getting exactly what they want. And if you leak it out there, I don't think that's good for trade talks.
Mm-hmm.
So it could happen.
Where would he go? Knicks? I mean, you don't want to go to some mid-level market.
Well, it's not about – I don't think it's about the market as much as you don't want to go to a team that is not a contender. Right now, the Lakers are like around 500, and it doesn't look like they're going to get any better anytime soon. So I think he probably wants to go someplace where he can try and win another championship. So
Timberwolves.
I mean, they're at the top. I don't think he probably wants to go there. I don't think they would even
but
want
that's
to trade
what I'm
for
saying.
him. Yeah.
Market has got to be part of it. He goes, okay, what's a contender team in a place I'd be okay buying a house? The Suns? I mean,
well, the Suns is.
He wanted to go to L.A.
And he's been in L.A.
What about that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I don't.
What about the Clippers?
Clippers are. I mean,
could they just deal him up the road?
They could trade him.
Yeah.
It's not even up the road. They play in the same building.
That's what I'm saying.
You just got to move the locker rooms. He'd be reunited with Ty Lue.
Now it'll be.
I imagine he'd like that.
It'll be more fun to envision him in a terrible team.
Yeah, it goes to the Pistons.
He goes to the Wizards or the Pistons. Yeah, right. LeBron James signs with the I don't know who. Are the Pelicans any good?
I think they're kind of middle of the road.
No, okay, there you go. LeBron back to the Heat. Anyway, so that guy like I said, set the internet on fire. Take that, Kim Kardashian's ass. There's more than that going on. I'll tell you what. I've got I was looking at my giant penny jar at Casa Cox. I got money to give to you here. Speaking of which, in a few minutes, it's going to be the last $1,000 we'll have for you until Monday morning. I'm looking at our big penny jar, and it was getting pretty full. You might have one of these, right? You got a penny jar at home?
Mine's in a plastic bag right now.
A lot of people
just like a little
like that.
Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot. I don't handle a lot of cash, so I don't have a lot of change.
Right. Well, we have a giant plastic orange gummy bear. And that's where it takes a long time. So I'm looking at my giant penny jar, and it's getting pretty full, and it's running out of room. So I do what I always do. I take it over to the Great Lakes Science Center, and I run each one of them through that penny press.
Oh, nice.
So it flattens them, so then I have more room in the jar.
That makes a lot of sense.
And at $1 a penny, it's a pretty good deal. I have more room in my penny jar.
No, that's
not
cost effective.
But not everybody.
Have you ever thought about going into financial planning?
Not everybody knows. Poundcake's got his things he's going to announce, and I do too. But those penny presses, you might not always know where there's one. We're right downtown. You might not know that there's one over there at the Great Lakes Science Center. There is, but I only mention this because, fortunately, a guy put together, this guy's got a lot of time in his hands, a guy put together a map of the closest penny press machine to you. So let's say you're not on the Ohio Turnpike.
I hope it's more accurate than the Chili's to baseball stadium map.
Let's say you're not on the Ohio Turnpike and you haven't pulled over to have a pish, and there's one right there. They've got a map of where they are. The closest one to us here, I know it only too well, over there at the Great Lakes Science Center. But you can put in where you live, and boy, it'll show you within 50 miles of where you are. Where you could be like me with that giant jar of pennies and just running out of room in my gummy bear. They have one over at the Christmas Story house. I've never been over there, so I wouldn't have known that. They have one at the zoo.
Well, I'm going to go to the zoo on Monday morning to see the baby tigers.
Monday morning?
Yeah. Before I come into work, I'm hopping over there with a friend because we want to see them baby tigers. They just let them out, yeah.
They were just born?
Well, they just let them. Well, they were born a few months ago, but they haven't been out in the into the structure or whatever they call the exhibit.
Oh, I
yet.
see. Okay.
And now they're out, and so we're gonna pop over there and say what's up.
Now, are you getting a special look at these?
No.
You're not. This isn't like a guided tour. Just when the zoo opens, you're gonna go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It's the circle of life because what are they, tigers?
Yeah.
And the Metro Park Zoo just lost that black rhino.
Oh.
This black rhino lived at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo since 1997. Inga, the black rhino.
Here's your third celebrity.
Wayne Kramer, Carl Weathers, and Inga, the black rhino.
This is the one I'm most sad about, honestly.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Inga
love
was
visiting
nearly
the rhinos.
31 years old and had been in declining health. She was one of the 5 oldest black rhinos in the world. Right here at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, she passed away. But again, enter the baby tigers. There are only 6,200. Now, with all due respect, when they say only 6,200, that sounds like a lot. That's just in the wild in Africa. These don't sound like they're endangered. But that's better than 30 years ago there were only a couple of thousand.
Yeah.
So these things are humping left and right. They're getting it on. I mean, Inga was one of 58 black rhinos in the United States. So anyway, but she'd been there a long time. There's conceivably people that have worked at the Metro Park Zoo for that long and might have been very, very attached to the rhino. And I don't know what they do. Do they cremate an animal when it dies? Do they quietly cut the horn off and shave it down for boner pills, or what do they do? That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know the other side of the life-death equation there.
DJ Jake C on the chat said, first of all, it's a rhino.
A rhino. Thank you. I got money here. It's the last chance today until Monday morning for you to grab $1,000. So right under the wire. I hope you win. Good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Money. That's money. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Alan told Poundcake that Wendy Williams' conservatorship allowed her to produce the movie. And producing it might just as easily be her saying yes to what is in it. I mean, that was kind of my point.
That's what I imagine.
An EP credit, a lot of times people don't do anything for it. It's just a credit.
It's just a title, yeah.
Okay.
Alan, when those pennies become longer, don't they take up more space? You'd think so.
But they're flatter.
You'd think so. They're flatter.
They're flatter. So
longer, yes.
And he's got less dollars, so there's way more space in his.
There's a lot more space. So far, it's worked out.
Great.
Yeah, it's worked out. I am only down $5,600.
Gotta spend money to make money.
You really do. That's what I've always heard. What do those Tiger Cub sexuality have to do with anything? Where did Bill hear that they came out? See what they're doing?
Oh, I get it.
That's what they're doing.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
They were let out.
Let out.
Rawr.
Rawr. The Diana Ross song is playing. It's a whole production, really.
T-I-double.
They people talking about the Super Bowl. I was waiting to see if it would happen, and it finally did happen. I was going to be missing the Super Bowl because I was going to be in Michigan because my daughter had a recital on Super Bowl Sunday.
What the hell?
At Michigan State. And
those idiots.
Well, they canceled it. Because somebody finally said, hey, and I'm like, yeah, I don't imagine that the faculty at the School of Music at Michigan State University had their head down to their ear to the ground with the goings on of professional sports. But it had to have been a parent or somebody who finally got their head out of their ass. But I was planning on going, but it got canceled, which I always like to see my daughter perform. But I doubt that she's super bummed out about it. But when I first got the schedule, I was like, do they know that's Super Bowl Sunday? And clearly, nobody did until a couple days ago. I would have loved to have been on the receiving end of that conversation. Hey, did you guys realize that probably no one's going to come to this thing on Sunday? Why? Traffic? No, dummy, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Oh, Super Bowl Sunday. What is that again? The Superb Owl? I think I heard something about it. My favorite story about the Super Bowl is how they don't want to spend any money on Super Bowl media, so they're putting them at like the worst hotels in Las Vegas. Like the NFL is like,
I'm not surprised by that because they wanted all the good hotels for the people that are there to spend money.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're putting all the Super Bowl media at two of the worst hotels in Las Vegas. They're putting them up at the Luxor, which if you're familiar at all with Vegas, it's that giant pyramid, but it's been there for a long time.
That's a bad hotel. I always wanted to stay there.
Yeah, but they have it's not a great hotel. It looks cool, but they always have a lot of issues
because it's just really old.
But they're also they're making the side of it look like a giant Doritos chip for the Super Bowl. And then
that sphere.
Yeah.
You think the sphere is so high tech? Well, we got a
triangle Doritos chip.
The chip building.
So they're putting them up at the Luxor.
An Excalibur?
An Excalibur.
Yeah.
Which looks like a kid's castle. It's like a toy castle.
I think it's funny. Because
I remember one time we went to Vegas and we stayed at New York or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It was like pretty like middle of the road. But the Excalibur had rooms for like $30 a night.
Oh yeah.
It was that was crazy.
Yeah, because it looks like you're in like the Candy Cane
And
Kingdom
it's
or something.
all super dated, and it's it's not.
They have
great.
a Buca de Beppo.
Mm-hmm.
When I stayed at the Four Queens,
Yeah, you did.
they there was, I could clearly tell the outdated side and then like the updated side because we got our rooms and they're like, okay, so you're gonna go through the casino, down the hall, elevators to your right. I'm like, okay. And then like I see a bunch of people going, and my brother's like, oh, we're not going with them. I was like, oh, what the elevator's right there? He's like, no, we're on the other side of the building. So we walk and we walk and we walk, and we see the type of people that just gets kind of drunker and drunker, and people just smoking, and like people with wheelchairs and balloons.
Yeah, it's downtown Vegas, so it's
Yeah.
like old Vegas.
And so like we go up to the elevator. I was like, oh, like they give out little earplugs in the room. Like I got stains on my wall.
On the wall.
It was just like the wallpaper was like peeling off, and I was like, oh. I was like, we get the dated room, like because you could smoke, you could do whatever in these rooms. I want to.
Wallpaper's all yellow.
Yeah, everybody was on like the hood side, like the side facing. What is the name of the street down there?
Fremont Street.
Yeah, Fremont Street. So I was literally underneath the little awning that they have that just shows all the videos.
You're sleeping in sunglasses.
Pretty much, and they have really blacked out curtains. I never got to see the rich side of Four Queens. I'm sure there's a nicer side where it's like quiet and yeah, it is. It's like more high end. But
I don't know about that. I mean, I was in Four Queens last time we were there. We always stay at the Nomad, but last time we were there, I was having lunch with a buddy of mine that I used to do radio with in Pittsburgh. And he had retired to Vegas, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And so I said, hey, we're going to be out for a few days. Let's have lunch. We'll catch up. It'll be great. And he's like, cool. He didn't live too far from Fremont Street, so I just threw a dart at the Four Queens. And so we went into the restaurant in the Four Queens, and just walking through that lobby, I'm like, oh, my God.
They had a Subway
It's like
there.
old people drinking but falling asleep at the bar. Not like they're at a machine, like those people are, but yeah, they're like leaning over the waitresses and the bartenders all looked cute because it's still young girls in Vegas, working those places.
They have a
the clientele, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, there was someone with like a walker that was she was sitting on her walker, and then they had a balloon tied to her walker, and I was like, oh, so she probably just walks around with that all day. And then their Subway there, it's a 24-hour Subway, and it's like $18 for a sub. I was like, oh my God.
It's expensive.
But it was like always packed. Like these guys never get a rest. And it was like a ice cream shop too. I'm like, when someone wants ice cream, they just take the hat off and all right, what type of ice cream do you want?
Professor McGillicuddy's ice cream scooper or whatever it is,
Yeah.
old timey.
Oh God, yeah, it was a good time though. I'm not even gonna front because I would walk out any time of night and there's something going on, and I'm not used to drinking on the street. No one should be used to that
But it is fun.
Yeah.
Phineas Q. Butterfats.
That's the best time I had when I was in Vegas, was just walking up and down Fremont Street with my brother and my sister-in-law.
We shouldn't have made fun of like the little.
There's a lot of curvy hookers on Fremont Street.
But there was
boy.
like the panhandlers there. Like it was like a family affair. The guys looking at us are like, Betsy, if you don't do this right, we're not gonna eat.
Betsy.
So she's in there dancing, and like everyone's like, oh, I'm like, I ain't got money for
Betsy.
that.